Imagine what happens when we set the terms. Instead of begging for inclusion in global clubs, that day the balance of power shifts forever. That day the old empire crumbles. That is why they kill dreams before they are born. But let us be honest, what destroyed our movements was not only external sabotage, it was also internal weakness. Too many leaders chose the comfort of foreign approval over the discomfort of true liberation. Too many elites were content to eat crumbs from the master's table while their people starved outside. Too many intellectuals traded critical thought for consultancy contracts. And yet, even with all the betrayals, the flame of resistance has never been extinguished. In the deserts of the Sahel, in the townships, in the villages, in the campuses, in the hidden corners of the diaspora, a new generation has been rising. This generation is not satisfied with slogans. This generation is not fooled by empty parades and handshakes at summits. This generation is hungry for substance, and that hunger cannot be suppressed. The bombshell is this: history is not waiting. It is already moving. Even now, alliances are forming that reject neo-colonial dictates. Even now, youth are demanding not just reform, but transformation. Even now, nations are experimenting with alternatives to dependency. What was once whispered in private rooms is now shouted in the streets. Sovereignty is not a luxury, it is a necessity. If we do not claim it now, we may never claim it again. And let me be clear, sovereignty is not an abstract slogan. It is practical, it is material, it is daily. It means controlling our own currency, so that inflation is not dictated by someone else's interest rates. It means owning our technology, so that innovation serves us instead of stealing our data. It means managing our resources, so that a child in Congo benefits from cobalt, instead of living beside a mine in misery. It means teaching our own history, so that young minds are not raised to despise themselves. It means building our own food security, so that no nation can starve us into submission. These are not dreams, these are duties. So, I say again, bombshell. You won't believe this until you open your eyes, but once you open them, you will not be able to close them again, because the truth has a way of haunting us. It forces us to act even when acting is dangerous. But understand this, the danger of doing nothing is far greater. The danger of silence is suffocating. If we remain passive, if we remain divided, the chains will only tighten and our children will curse us for our cowardice. But if we rise, if we demand what is ours, if we dare to unite, the world will tremble at the power of a free people. That is the choice before us, and that is only the beginning. Let us face it without fear. The world was never designed for Africa to win. Every system of global finance, every institution that sets the rules of trade, every treaty that promises cooperation but delivers exploitation was created to keep us in a cycle of dependency. They call it globalization, but in truth, it is modern colonization dressed in polite language. They say it is partnership, but the terms of the contract are always written in their favor. Loans that cripple us, aid that humiliates us, agreements that enrich a few elites while entire nations sink deeper into poverty. This is not partnership. It is domination by another name. The bombshell is that we have accepted this domination for far too long, as if it were natural. We believed the lie that Africa cannot stand without the crutches of foreign approval. But I tell you today, that lie is crumbling. The soil beneath our feet holds riches that can fuel entire civilizations. The youth of our continent hold creativity that can rival any innovation hub on Earth. The cultures of our people hold wisdom that predates the very empires that now pretend to instruct us. We lack nothing except the courage to claim what is already ours. Our greatest weapon is unity. Yet unity is exactly what our enemies fear the most. They thrive on our division, North against South, Francophone against Anglophone, one tribe against another. They draw boundaries across maps and convince us that those boundaries are real, when in truth they are scars from a colonial carving knife. A divided Africa is predictable, manageable, exploitable. But a united Africa is unstoppable. A united Africa negotiates trade not from weakness, but from strength. A united Africa does not wait for handouts. It dictates terms. A united Africa does not sell raw resources for pennies. It refines, produces, and exports on its own terms. That is why the dream of unity has always been met with bullets and betrayals, because unity is liberation, and liberation terrifies those who live off our chains. But let me be honest with you, unity is not just about flags and conferences. Unity is about economic will. Unity is about building an African financial system that answers only to Africa. Imagine a currency that is not pegged to the whims of Washington or Paris. Imagine a bank that is not a puppet of the IMF, but a pillar of African development. Imagine trade routes that connect Lagos to Nairobi, Kinshasa to Cairo, Cape Town to Dakar, without needing approval from foreign capitals. This is not utopia, it is possible. The infrastructure exists, the mines exist, the resources exist. What has been missing is the political courage, and that is what we must demand now. Our enemies know this. That is why every attempt at sovereignty is met with sabotage. Leaders who try are demonized. Countries that resist are sanctioned. Movements that rise are infiltrated. They want us to believe resistance is futile. But history teaches the opposite. Every empire that once looked invincible eventually crumbled. The Roman Empire, the British Empire, the apartheid regime, all believed themselves eternal. Yet all fell when people refused to bow any longer. The same fate awaits today's empire of finance and fear, if we summon the strength to challenge it. And here is where the role of the people becomes vital. Do not wait for presidents alone to deliver liberation. Do not wait for international bodies to give permission. Transformation will not be negotiated in boardrooms. It will be built in classrooms, in villages, in factories, in the streets. Students must refuse to be taught a history that erases their heroes. Farmers must refuse to depend on foreign seed monopolies. Engineers must design technology that serves our people, rather than stealing their data. Musicians, writers, filmmakers, your art must not just entertain, it must awaken. Liberation is not an event, it is a culture. It must flow through every part of society until the very air we breathe tastes of freedom. The youth especially carry this mission, because the truth is the older generation has often been compromised. By power, by wealth, by fear. But the youth are unafraid. They are restless. They are connected across borders in ways no colonial power can fully control. Through technology, they see through propaganda. Through networks, they share knowledge. Through determination, they are rewriting what it means to be African in the 21st century. If this generation decides to rise with clarity and unity, no force on earth will stop them. Bombshell, the liberation struggle is not history, it is now. We were taught to think it ended with independence celebrations decades ago, but that was only the first chapter. The real struggle is economic. The real struggle is cultural. The real struggle is psychological. Liberation means not just driving out foreign rulers, but driving out the colonial mindset that told us we were less than others. It means not just replacing foreign flags with national ones, but replacing dependency with true self-reliance. It means not just building new parliaments, but building new systems where justice is not sold to the highest bidder. Now, some will say this is too radical. Some will say we must be patient, that gradual reform is the way. But ask yourself, how many decades have we already waited? How many generations have been told that one day change will come, while their lives are wasted in poverty? There is nothing radical about demanding to own what is ours. There is nothing extreme about refusing to be perpetual beggars. The only extreme thing is the injustice we have endured without revolt. But here is another truth. They cannot silence all of us. They may imprison one leader, assassinate another, smear a third, but if millions rise together, their bullets will run out before our voices do. That is the power of collective will. That is why I say this is not just about governments. It is about people. Sovereignty cannot be gifted by presidents. Sovereignty must be claimed by citizens. This is the moment to break the chains. This is the moment to decide whether we will continue as victims of history or authors of a new one. Do not underestimate what you carry. Every time you refuse to believe their lies, you weaken their grip. Every time you support African businesses instead of foreign monopolies, you build independence. Every time you teach a child their true history, you plant a seed of dignity that no propaganda can erase. That is power. And when millions practice that power together, no empire stands a chance. So let me declare again, with no apology, the bombshell is real. You won't believe it until you see it. But once you see it, you will not rest until you act. Because what is at stake is not just our wealth. It is our dignity. It is our survival. It is the future of every child born on this continent. And when we realize that, the question is no longer whether change is possible. The only question left is, will we rise to claim it, or will we let another generation be shackled by our silence? The hour is late, but it is not too late. History has placed us at a crossroads, and we cannot pretend otherwise. Either we continue down the road of dependency, where our children remain consumers of other people's inventions, workers in other people's factories, and refugees from wars they did not start, or we take the harder road, the road of sovereignty, the road of unity, the road of building with our own hands. This is the bombshell. That choice belongs to us, not to foreign capitals, not to distant institutions, not even to presidents. It belongs to the people, and the people must decide. If we continue with business as usual, we know the result. More poverty, more instability, more migration, more humiliation. Another decade lost, another generation betrayed. But if we choose the path of courage, then the story changes. The same resources that have been drained from our soil can fund our schools. The same energy that powers foreign industries can electrify our villages. The same creativity that is dismissed by the world can solve our problems faster than imported solutions. The potential is here. It always has been. The question is, will we have the discipline and the determination to unleash it? Some will argue that Africa is too diverse to unite, that our languages, our histories, our religions are too different. But diversity is not our weakness. It is our strength. Just as a drum beats with many rhythms but produces one sound, Africa can blend its voices into harmony. Let no one deceive you into thinking that Europe, Asia, or America were ever without conflict. They too were divided. They too fought. But they chose integration when they realized division was weakness. If they could unite across centuries of wars, what excuse do we have not to unite across cultures that have coexisted for millennia? Unity is not a dream. It is a necessity. Without it, we will forever be bargaining from weakness, begging at tables where we should be hosting the feast. Bombshell. They fear our unity more than our weapons, because unity cannot be sanctioned. It cannot be bombed. It cannot be assassinated. It is a spirit, and once awakened, it spreads faster than fear. That is why the project of liberation must be more than political. It must be spiritual. It must touch the soul of every African, until even a child knows. We are not beggars, we are builders. We are not divided tribes, we are one people. We are not victims of history, we are authors of the future. This is the creed we must teach in schools, sing in songs, declare in art, and live in our daily choices. And let us not forget the diaspora, the millions of Africans scattered across the globe. They too are part of this story. For too long, their genius has enriched foreign lands while their mother continent waits in silence. But the tide is turning. From the streets of the Caribbean to the campuses of America, from the neighborhoods of Europe to the townships of Brazil, Africans in the diaspora are reclaiming their identity and demanding connection. They are not outsiders, they are bridges. They bring knowledge, capital, and networks that, when directed homeward, can accelerate transformation at lightning speed. The world trembles not at a divided Africa, but at a global Africa united across oceans, connected by vision, marching with one heartbeat. Do not underestimate what this moment requires. It will not be easy. Sacrifice will be demanded. Some will lose comfort, some will lose privilege, some will even lose their lives. But remember this, the chains we carry are already costing us more than liberation ever could. Poverty is a cost. Ignorance is a cost. Dependence is a cost. Humiliation is a cost. Every day we delay, the price of freedom increases. Better to pay the cost of courage today than the cost of regret tomorrow. Now I turn to the youth, because this struggle will be yours to finish. Do not wait for permission. Do not wait for perfect conditions. Revolutions are never born in comfort, they are born in urgency. Build now, organize now, dream now. Let every campus become a laboratory of sovereignty. Let every neighborhood become a workshop of dignity. Let every African abroad remember they are not guests at another man's table. They are ambassadors of a rising continent. If you believe Africa is weak, it will remain weak. If you believe Africa is strong, you will build that strength with your own hands. Bombshell. The time of excuses is over. We cannot keep blaming outsiders while we refuse to take responsibility. Yes, they exploit us. Yes, they manipulate us. But they succeed only when we allow them to. The greatest betrayal is not the schemes of outsiders. It is the silence of insiders. It is the cowardice of those who know the truth, but choose to keep quiet. It is the complacency of those who benefit from crumbs while their nations starve. That must end. Speak, act, organize, resist. Build. No one will liberate us but ourselves. Let me leave you with this vision. Imagine an Africa where every child is fed, not by imported aid, but by food grown in abundance on our own soil. Imagine an Africa where minerals are not exported as rocks, but as finished products branded with African names. Imagine an Africa where borders do not divide opportunity but expand it, where a young engineer from Nairobi can work in Lagos, a farmer from Ghana can trade freely in Morocco, a musician from Johannesburg can tour freely in Dakar. Imagine an Africa that no longer sends its best minds abroad, but attracts minds from around the world because the future is being built here. Imagine an Africa that is not on the margins of history, but at its center. That is not fantasy. That is destiny. But destiny must be claimed. The choice is before us. The chains are visible. The key is in us. The only question is whether we will unlock the door. The world will not wait for us. The tides of history are moving fast. Either we ride the wave or we are drowned by it. But I tell you this, we were not born to drown. We were born to rise. So rise, Africa. Rise with courage. Rise with unity. Rise with vision. Rise with fire in your heart and steel in your spine. The hour is late, but it is not too late. The world says it cannot be done. Let us show them it has already begun. The world says Africa will always be dependent. Let us prove that Africa is destined to lead. The world says we will never be free. Let us remind them we already are. Bombshell, you won't believe this, but the future is ours. And once we believe it, nothing can stop us.